Hey, welcome today. If those of you that don't know me, my name is Arn Terry. I am a recruiter, and today we're going to be talking about how to get a pay increase without asking for more salary. So we are on 10:50 now. So we'll just give it a couple of minutes for a few more people to join. But first, I just want to make sure if people can hear me, if people can see me okay. So if you do want to put any of the comments in the comment box, please put that in now, because I don't want to be talking if you're not getting any audio, and also if you're not getting any visual as well. So please put the information in the comments box if you cannot hear me or if you cannot see me. I'll give it a few more moments for a few more people to join as I'm checking on my laptop as well. And yeah, just to give you a quick overview about myself. Obviously, I'm a recruiter, a headhunter. I've been in the recruitment industry now for about 15 years, maybe a bit more. I've worked with huge, mega, large recruitment businesses who are international, who have got teams upon teams upon teams. And then I've also worked for niche boutique companies who are very small, focused within their area. So what that basically means, I've got great experience from the very large land and expand companies to the small, touchy-feely boutique companies who are very agile in their way. And obviously with the larger companies who are quite rigid. So that brings me on to my business, which I've founded myself. I'm the director of Daniel Ernest Consulting. Daniel Ernest Consulting provide the best talent in the market, and we provide ERP and CRM talent internationally. So putting that information together, working for the big companies, the big corporates and smaller. Daniel Ernest has got a lot of experience helping out multiple companies and candidates around the world, which is why I'm hosting this short webinar. The webinar will last approximately 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and there's not going to be any slides or any screen shares or anything like that. It's literally going to be me speaking and giving some practical advice, because Daniel Ernest is all about practical advice and to help you, the candidates out there, on how to, increase your package without going into your hiring authority, your manager, and just saying, I want more money. And also on the flip side, if you are a hiring authority, if you're a director or a senior person in the business, it hopefully will give you a bit of an insight on how you can increase one of your employees' salary if you don't have the budget on the salary by offering alternatives. So just jumping straight in, obviously, as I said, the topic today is how to get a pay increase without asking for more money. And as I said, it's about 30 to 45 minutes that I'm going to be speaking from. And if you do have any questions as I'm speaking right now, hopefully there's a box there you can put the questions down in there, and then I will do my best to answer them at the end of the session. If I don't get a chance to answer those, then what I will do is I will at least come back to you on a message via LinkedIn, or I might just put a post on LinkedIn after this, would maybe a lot easier. Put a post on LinkedIn answering the questions that were asked of me, so you can go in there and it'll be an amalgamation of multiple questions from viewers. So just jumping in about this, we will obviously cover benefits on how to get a pay increase, or should I say, get a package increase. We'll talk about the car allowance, car, bonus, shares, these things that you could be asking. And also knowing your job role, what's expected from you, and knowing what other company benefits are. It's really, really important that you have a full understanding of your company, the company structure, and I guess what the competitors, what other companies like the business that you're working for are actually paying on a salary and a package side as well. So it's not just, again, hey, I want a pay increase. This is giving you the candidate, the employee, practical advice and information on how you can go about speaking to your manager or your manager's manager. You don't have to go to your direct manager. Literally the person who is going to be the most likely person to listen, respond, and take action, because that's what we want. So it's those three things. You want someone to listen, you want someone to respond, and you want someone to take action. So the first point you should be thinking in your head is, okay, if I'm speaking to my manager or manager or a person in the business, who's going to listen, who's going to respond, and who's going to take action. So that's one of the first things that you should be doing. But it's really, really important to understand, if you are looking to increase your package, your salary, or whatever it needs to be, you need to be making sure you are actually going above and beyond. This isn't for someone who is just doing the average. This isn't for someone who is just, going through the motions and expecting a pay increase. You do obviously need to be going above and beyond and be tracking your progress. So you've got some tangible evidence to speak to your manager, so they obviously give you a pay increase. So yeah, as I said, it's very important to understand if you're not going above and beyond, and the chances are getting a package increase is unlikely. So be truthful to yourself and ask the question, am I doing my very best? Now, on the subject of doing your very best, now your best 6 months ago isn't obviously your very best that you're doing today. So you also need to always be doing your best, and the best in 6 months' time will obviously be better than what you're doing today. Hopefully that makes sense. So the best you was doing in your role 6 months ago isn't obviously the best that you're doing today, and in the future, say 6 months in advance, that will be obviously better than your best that you're doing today. So what I mean by that is, you could be doing an accreditation, you could be doing a course, you could be being skilled up by your manager in a one-to-one or someone else. You're basically just doing better for yourself each day. So you need to be making sure you're doing better for yourself. Going back to getting some evidence to make sure you get this pay increase or package increase, you need to understand a few things. So I've pointed these down. So one, what is your job title and duties? May sound funny, but a lot of people don't know what their full duties are and the job title. The easiest thing to do, how to get this, is go back and look at your contract and view what your duties are. If you don't have your contract, go and speak to HR or whoever sent it over to you, so you can, or your line manager, so you can find out what your duties are. So you obviously need to track that. Two, what you also need to be looking for as well is, when you're progressing to the next step, say you're going to get promoted from a manager to a senior manager, or from an associate partner to a partner, you also need to know what those duties are on that step up. So you need to, again, speak with your line manager, HR, and find out exactly what those duties are, what you're doing there. This will make sense in the moment. It'll all come together like a jigsaw piece. Now, you also need to set up a monthly review with your manager. Hopefully this is making sense. Again, put some comments in the box. And again, if you've got any questions around what I'm talking about, put the questions down and I'll do my best to answer them at the end, or I'll send a message on LinkedIn and various other platforms to answer your questions. So setting up a monthly review with your manager is really, really important. This is for your checks and balances. So we've already established one, what our duties are, what our job is. And then 2, we've now got our focus on how to get to the next stage. What are the duties, what are the tasks there? So your monthly review will be your checks and balances with the manager. Don't worry, this will all make sense very, very soon. So you're doing that on a monthly basis. I would say at the very, very least, in quarterly is probably a bit too far, to be fair. I would definitely say monthly, not speaking with your manager every month about your future and your goals, your aspiration within the company. I would say tweak that and speak with your manager to make sure that's done. If he or she is too busy, then you need to obviously go and find another senior person within the business, and then hopefully they can give you the attention that you're looking for. Oh, excuse me, I've got an alarm coming up on my phone. Let me just get rid of this. Apologies for that. So you just need to make sure when you're speaking with the hiring authority or your manager every single month that you are having that communication with them, and what you're actually doing is you are building up a case. So on your monthly one-to-ones, you're looking at metrics, what you are up to versus what is expected. So again, this is building the evidence for when you're ready to pull the trigger. Again, it will make sense very soon. So we'll put that bit to the side for now on finding out more information about your current jobs. So your current role, your tasks, and obviously the tasks what you'll be doing when you get promoted. And then we're going to go segue to the side about the benefits as well. What benefits does your company offer versus what your competitors offer? So are you getting free gym memberships? Are you getting free dental care, healthcare, etc., etc.? If you're not getting any of these extra benefits, this is a simple way to increase your package. Because let's say your gym membership is £40 a month, and that's £500 a year that you're spending on gym membership. If your company can obviously give you that as a benefit, you've already increased your take home by £500 a year. But if you want to get very technical, it's actually a bit more than that, because obviously you get taxed when the money comes into your account, and then obviously you pay for the gym membership on that as well. So it's a bit more than £500. So that money will go into your pocket. Things like dental care, healthcare as well. These are simple ways to increase your take home without you physically paying for something, but your company covering that for yourself as well. So hopefully that makes a bit of sense, just to go over the dental care, healthcare, also things like I mentioned as well, gym membership. Simple thing now that everyone's talking about is working from home. Excuse me, let me just have some water. So working from home is another way that you can simply increase, or should I say decrease, your expenditure. Again, depending on how far you live away from your work, fuel cost, train, bus, and also time as well. You're getting your time back, which means you can potentially increase your take home as well. So that's just another thing as well, what you can be thinking about, not just the salary, how much can I get, how much money can I increase it by, but think about the flexible benefits there. Because the purpose and the reason for this webinar is some companies at the moment may say to you, we are not giving out pay increases at the moment. So this is getting the juices flowing in your head on how and what and why, how and what can I do to kind of increase my take home without saying, right, okay, I need to increase my salary. So it gives another set of conversations to have with your company on how you can increase your take home, and it just doesn't have to be about salary. So we've talked about your job title, your job duties, obviously finding that out. We've talked about finding the next level of the job duties there as well, for what your promotion would be. So At the moment, you've obviously speaking to your line manager on a monthly basis. You've set up a monthly review with the line manager, and you're also now looking into what are the benefits your competitors or the companies that do the same thing as you give out, and then you amalgamate that information together. So this is obviously research that you need to do to make sure you get the benefits that you're looking for. Now, if you're doing the job and going beyond your agreed contract, tell your manager that in the monthly review, that you're basically happy with the extra workload and the responsibility, because from my experience in recruitment for over 15 years now, sometimes the candidate can make the conversation go down the wrong path by not intentionally with it being aggressive, but coming off aggressive, saying to your boss, your manager, I've got too much work, I've got too much responsibility, I'm not getting paid enough money for that. So rather than say it in that way, use it more as a gratification or gratitude or appreciation. So show your appreciation to your line manager, to your boss, that you've been given more workload, and also you've been given more responsibility. You may not feel that way, but you need to articulate your words in a way where it's coming from a gratitude place and a place of appreciation. So again, you're going to go and speak to your line manager, and you're going to, thank them for giving you extra work and responsibility and a great workload, and advise and educate them by saying to them, I know I'm doing the role of, you could be a manager. Let's just use the word manager because it's easier. Thank them. I know I'm doing a role as a manager at the moment, but with the extra responsibilities that I've been doing, it seems more as a senior manager. And the reason why you can have that conversation now, if you remember the points before, what your role is and what the next step up is, you've also created the evidence that you're doing more, above and beyond what you're doing. So you're going to speak to your you're going to speak to your manager, you're going to let them know that you're grateful for the role, for the opportunity, and you're going to say, yes, I know my title is manager. I see I've been working as a senior manager from point A, B, and C. And then what you need to basically do is get them to say to you, yeah, actually, you have been working as a senior manager, and I can see that. So then the conversation you're having with your manager is, that's fantastic. As I'm working as a senior manager now, just like to ask when that would be made official. So this conversation is really, really crucial when you're speaking with your manager. So you've collected the information about your current role. You've looked at your contract, your duties, and you've also looked at the duties of the next banding, or not banding, the next role, so a senior manager, and you're basically putting those together, and then hopefully your manager will see that you are doing the role of a senior manager. Again, it's all evidence-based here. So when you're speaking to your when you're speaking to the manager or your manager, it's just simply connecting the dots, and then hopefully he or she will understand, yes, you are working as a senior, because we've gone through the information in the one-to-one. That's why it's really, really important to have the one-to-one, because you're doing your checks and balance on a monthly basis, and you obviously need to put this down as evidence when you're speaking with your manager, and getting your manager to email over to you what you've discussed, and how far away or how close to or where you've excelled in your duties. So going back to your manager agreeing that you're doing the role of a senior, it's then saying to them, right, great, I'm glad that you can see I'm doing the role of a senior. How will this now transmute or transform into us making this official? So they'll obviously say to you, yes, perfect, we'll make this role official for yourself. We'll get you going as a senior manager. Now, the next point, which is really, really important, is then saying to the senior, saying to your manager, right, okay, I'm glad that you see that I am doing this role. I've seen working as a senior manager for this company, this is what the pay range would be. From my experience and doing this role, what do you think the pay range would be for me doing this role? Now, you've not gone and asked for a salary increase. You've not asked for a pay rise at all. What you've done is you've been very, very methodical and analytical about going about your duties with getting this salary or package increase. You've provided evidence, you've sat down with your manager and you've gone through methodically that you can do the job, you're doing the job, but you're not getting paid for the job. But you've articulated yourself in a way, speaking to your manager by giving him or her layers of information, if this is making sense. Hopefully it's making sense. So just to kind of backtrack and re-step over, you've gone and looked into your role, your current role. You've gone and looked into the duties that role is offering you. You've then also got the role of the next step up, so manager to senior manager, and you've done your checks and balances with those two. And as you've been checking, I'm doing the role of a senior because I'm tick doing that duty, tick doing that duty, tick doing that duty. On your monthly reviews, you're speaking with your manager constantly about metrics, where you're up to, what's going on. And then once you've literally ticking the boxes or most of the boxes of what it takes to become and to do the role of the next hike up, you then on your next review, speaking with your manager, you go and speak with them and you say to them, as I am doing the role of a senior manager now, I just would like to make this official, or how do we make this official, or what's the possibility for making this official? You need to obviously come in from a non-aggressive way. So you find the words on how you will speak to your manager about this. Obviously, you know the manager, I don't. So just articulate the words to get them to agree, because when you put the evidence to them, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to disagree that you should not have the title of that role. So it's really important that you do it in these steps. So you're getting them to agree that the title of the senior manager is definitely going to be yours, and for the reasons are stated out, because you've done all the metrics. And then on that same conversation with them, you're going to say to them, that's great, I'm glad that you're going to make this official as a senior manager. Looking at the company chart or looking at the company structure, however your business works, can you give me an idea of what the salary range is for that position? So again, just to emphasize, you've not physically asked for a pay rise. What you've done is you've given information about your role, what you've done in your role, how you've excelled, and also you've got confirmation now that your role is going to be a step up. And then now you're just getting the confirmation of the salary range on there as well. So that hopefully is a tip for you, practical information for you on how you can increase your salary or your package without asking for it. Now that does normally work, but as I've said, at the beginning of the conversation, sometimes you just get companies that at the moment they've got a hiring freeze, or they may be reluctant to give a salary increase the next month or the month after. They may say to you, well, we're not going to do that till April or March, so you may be waiting. So, which brings me on to the point that I mentioned before, which is car allowance, bonus, and shares. Now, this only works, especially the share side, this only works if your company obviously gives out shares. So again, it's for you to go and do your research, go and ask the questions about shares, not bulldozing and say, I want shares, but asking the question to whoever the person is that's responsible for that or has a knowledge around shares in the company, and just asking about the business. So, you know, what shares does the company have? How do you get into the share scheme? How does that work? How do you buy into shares, etc., etc. So starting on the share front, again, you're going to do some of your research and your homework around this, and you're going to collect information. Obviously, if the company doesn't have any shares, they don't have share schemes or anything like that, then that's dead. But if they do if they do have that, then you're going to get this information and you're going to use that to your advantage, because when it comes to your boss saying, unfortunately, we can't give you a pay increase, then you say, oh, I'm fine, I understand that, I'm aware of that, but here's an alternative. I see that you have a share scheme. I see that it's at X and Y. And again, unfortunately, this is more of a medium to long term pay for yourself. But it's a way of increasing your package anyway. So then you can speak to your manager and you can try and come up with a solution on, okay, then what I would like to do is the company to provide me shares within the business at no cost to you, but your company will put in some, will gift you some shares, is the word that I'm looking for. Or if they won't gift you some shares, maybe there's some mutual agreement where if you put some in, they'll obviously match it or put in quite a bit more extra. So that's one way to increase your package. Another way, which I think is the simplest way, is a bonus. Obviously, it doesn't go on the company's records in terms of paying you, your national insurance or anything like that. It's just a one-off bonus. So what you could be doing, again, you could do all of these as well. You don't have to just pick one. But what you could also be doing is talking about a bonus, right? Okay, then I see that you can't give X salary within this time frame, but as I am doing the role of a senior, I see they get a higher bonus. So would you say it would be fair for the company to provide me an increased bonus because I'm doing the work of that role? And then we can cross the bridge of the salary increase when we get to the next quarter or to the next year. So that's one way to increase it. So you already get the bonus, but you're asking for the bonus of the senior manager, because obviously that's the role that you're doing. Or if the company doesn't offer you a bonus, you don't already have a bonus scheme within the business, you can see and ask if they are prepared to give you a bonus for the work that you're doing. And again, don't feel the fear to go and look at what other companies are doing. Now, this isn't you holding the business to ransom and saying, I'm going to leave if I don't get this. It's educating the company and saying, I know in X other company, they provide X bonus. So what I'm asking is if it's possible for you to give me this bonus on this amount for this specific project that I've worked on, or basically just going above and beyond for the year. So that's one thing that you should be looking into, bonuses. And another thing, car allowances. From my experience and knowing what's going on in the world with all these CO2 emissions and stuff like that, I'm seeing a lot of companies moving away from cars. It's going more for the allowance, because obviously now keeping your CO2 down, companies, you know, going on the electric route. So maybe they do, or maybe they will. But I would say that it'll be easier to get a car allowance than a cab. But if they offer you a company car, that's great. So another thing that you can be asking for is a company car and, or a car allowance. And again, very simply, you're going to do exactly the same thing. You're going to look at what other companies doing similar to yourself, see if they offer car allowances, and go back to your manager. And again, not demanding, not aggressive, but just saying, right, okay, I know that you can't give me the pay increase that you said that I would deserve, but we can't get that till in the future. But what I would like to discuss is a company car or a car allowance. And then obviously you've done your research, you've done your work. Now, the reason why it's going to be more difficult for that company and the manager to say no to you is, again, let's just backtrack a couple of steps, is they've already agreed that you are doing above and beyond. So when you go above and beyond in a company, logic and obviously evolution shows you in the business that you get a pay increase, and obviously you get more responsibility. So they've already agreed that you're doing the role, that you've got more responsibility, that your priorities have obviously increased within the company. So it'll make it a lot more difficult for them to say no to you. And you know, it'll be awesome if you could ace it. So you've gone and spoken to the hiring authority, so you know, your manager, and they say to you, yes, we'll give you a pay increase because you are doing the role. And then you also talk about shares, and then you also talk about a car allowance or car, and then you also talk about an increased bonus as well. So it'll be awesome if you can get all of those. I would love for anyone to come back to me using that method, and if you have got all of the above, then it'll be fantastic. But it's just a simple way. It sounds like a lot of work, but it truly isn't a lot of work. It's just a simple way on how you can increase your salary or your package without physically going to your boss and saying, I need a pay rise, or I want a pay rise, or I want a pay rise because of X, Y, and Z. Because once you do it that way, you're almost the hiring manager, because you need to think about putting yourself in their shoes. If someone came up to you and you were their boss, and someone said to you, I want a pay increase because I've been doing X, Y, and Z, you're going to have to think about it. You're going to have to go through all the work that they've been doing to then see, justify or quantify if they do deserve it. But the other way around is you've already done that in your monthly one-to-ones, you've done that in your catch-ups, you've got email confirmation saying that on the metrics that you're doing, you're above and you're doing really well. And then also you're checking and balancing that against the senior role that you're trying to get. So doing it the way that I've suggested will be a lot more easier for you, and also for your manager as well, because you've already collated the information and you collated your proposal, let's just call it, and you've put your proposal over to your manager, and then it's for you to I won't even say the word convince, it's then for you to give the practical information that you are worthy, or you should get a pay increase for that position. So that's pretty much it for this webinar. Hopefully it has been useful, it has been practical for yourself. I am trying to see if there are any questions coming up, but I'm not too sure if I've got access, so I'm not too sure if the person who is helping me with this can send over anything through, but I don't see anything coming through, so apologies on that. If you have sent a question through to me, what I will do is I will come back to you, like I said, either individually, or I'll put a post and then tag you into the post so you can see the answer to the question. I will be hosting webinars, probably not next month because it's holiday season and I'm away as well. But I'm going to host a webinar every month from September, and I'll be on top of some conversations. So what I will be doing is I'll be asking you, the viewers, on what you want to discuss, and depending on the popularity on the question to me, I will then obviously go back and do a short webinar on this and give you some practical advice, because the way that Daniel and this work, just closing this off, is we always focus on what is in it for our customers, what is in it for our candidates, what is in it for our clients. So we always focus our best on practical information to help you, and then obviously we ask a lot of questions which we collate the data, so we can provide a better service. Where, you know, a lot of people may get annoyed about these surveys that are going on LinkedIn a lot, but our surveys that we put there are practical surveys. So what we do is we collect the data, we look at it, and then it helps us provide a better service for all. So closing this off, I obviously want to thank you for your time, and if we do have any other questions, again, please do let me know. But it's been a pleasure talking, and thank you for your time, and I'll see you on the next webinar. Take care.